Hello everyone. I got a great show for you this evening. Today, we're talking about entitlement. Actually, it's a double feature. But first, let's talk about the first thing, which is the entitlement part. I'm seeing so much entitlement from men lately. And what's happening, and because see, look, on my page, predominantly I talk to men about, prioritizing things to get their life in order so they can date when they want, whatever. But lately, women are coming on my page more so than men, which, fine. More the merrier. I appreciate that. But here's the thing. What I'm seeing from women is that they're just straight up afraid to date men because men think that just because they got you a $25 barbecue plate from the restaurant that you now owe them some coochie or something. And it's like, what entitlement you must have for your life, you see? You just expect that just because you bought an extra plate, you're owed something. And then get mad, too, about it. Do you see what I'm saying? And so, the fact that whatever happened to just going out to dinner with a beautiful woman, I'm a man, I'd much rather just take a woman out to dinner with me. Whether it results in something or not, if it does, great. If it doesn't, okay. I'd still much rather go out to dinner with a woman than a man. And it would make me feel like a bitch if I didn't pay. So even if I don't even like you as a man, I still bear responsibility for this situation that we're in. Let me tell you, I've been on a date with many women where after the date began, I discovered I didn't like them. God, been there, done that. But at no point did it ever cross my mind. They go, well, I shouldn't have to pay since I don't like you. Or let's split this. You got your half, right? That's the point of the date. To just see, I have a little interest. Let me just see if I'm into this. See if there's a mutual connection, some compatibility there. All right? That's what the point is. And we got to go on an activity. I'm interested mostly, I have to you being interested in me kind of comes second. I feel that. But I'm interested. I'm going to take you out to dinner with me. No commitment to you. Just come and enjoy your night. And that's it. If it doesn't work out, all good. If it does work out, great. Either way, I got your plate, sis. I'll pay for your extra barbecue or whatever. And I never thought to myself that simply because I paid, I'm now owed something. And that just seems ridiculous. It's like you just bought dinner and now you get laid. It just doesn't make sense. Like this, sir, this is a Wendy's. Chill out. So anyways, the entitlement's one thing. But then, and this is the most important thing, here's the biggest takeaway for all of this, all right? Is that women set the expectation as to how the relationship's going to go. So, because men have this entitlement feeling towards the women that they're dating, they take a woman out, they buy them an extra plate of surf and turf. And then they don't get what they want out of the relationship or the date. So then what? A Venmo request? They're like, oh, well, you should pay your half. Or let's go 50-50, right? And let me tell you something. I'm going to read the future. If you as a woman accept a man that offers to take you on a date, but then suggests to split the bill, or that I should pay for my half, you pay for yours, if you accept that behavior, that is setting the precedent for the entire relationship. And I'm going to predict the future. Watch this. I predict that if you go on a date with a man that suggests paying for half the bill at the end, that you will end up moving in with that man and paying his rent, half his car note, half the groceries, half the electricity, half of everything. That's what's going to happen. I can see the future. Did you guys know that? I can see into your future. So, if you go and say yes to that, you're also forward saying yes to paying half his rent. Here's another thing. Y'all women moving in with men that already have houses and mortgages. And then because you said yes to paying for half the check on that first date, now y'all paying half his mortgage that he's accruing interest on. You see? He's got a mortgage. He's paying towards his home. All right? Y'all said yes to that date and paid half that dinner date. All right? Now you're paying half of his mortgage payments. And yet he's every month more and more acquiring a home, and you're just paying him half of it. That's what you get, folks. That's what you get when you say yes to 50-50. Y'all going to be paying his mortgage. And as a man, don't you feel guilty? Like, God, it's not even about being a gentleman anymore. It's about just the audacity. Can you just imagine having the audacity to lure some poor unfortunate soul into your circle of life or whatever, and then now that she's set up shop in yours, then you're just gonna, I don't know, just pull money off of her to pay your mortgage? Isn't that fucking insane? Doesn't that feel wrong? Doesn't that feel like the man's priorities are all out of whack and he's just trying to date a woman who's gonna pay for his mortgage, half of it? That just seems like that's what it feels. It's giving manipulation coded, okay? Because I can't imagine it being any other way. It's not, maybe he'll move in with you. Okay, fine. But I'm a fair warning right now, ma'am. If you let a man move in with you, he will have a Tinder account within a week. He will be asking girls to come meet up when you're out of town visiting your sister. I can also I'm reading the future. Look at me go. I predict that you're going to find some other color hair in your bed and it's going to be a fight. That's what happens when you let him move in with you. But on the other end of that, you're going to move in with him and be paying for his mortgage, making them payments, because after 30 years, he is going to own a house. What the fuck? That just seems like you're setting yourself up for that. If you say, I will pay for half this date today, you might as well, let's just fast forward the tape. And the next thing you know, you're going to be writing them checks every month, half of all of life. And it just seems like he's getting a better equitable deal than you. And here's the thing. I'm not saying this to bash on men. I'm not saying that, well, you should never expect any sort of cash input from a woman. I'm not really saying that. That's not really what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is that if women reject every single fucking man that has his priorities out of order and are simply, instead of making money, he's going out into the world and pursuing women instead of bettering himself as a man, then you all are set up for failure. Don't you see? It starts with the women. If you can just say no to 50-50, then and only then will men be forced to rise to the occasion, lest you get no play. That's what's going to happen. If you just say no to 50-50, men will then stop fucking suggesting it. Ta-da! Just like that. So, once they recognize that no woman will date them if they're going to force the woman to pay, then the men will just stop thinking that that's okay. And then they're going to have to do what? They're going to be forced to get their money up. You see? Which is what I've been preaching since day one. God, get your money up first before you date, because otherwise your priorities are all out of whack. Because by the way, this shit ain't cheap. Women aren't cheap. Girlfriends aren't cheap. Wives aren't cheap. Oh my God. Kids aren't cheap. A wet nurse isn't cheap. Soccer lessons aren't cheap. That minivan ain't cheap. It's all expensive. It just keeps coming. So if you're putting your priorities out of whack, guess what? Your whole family is set up to suffer. And that's your future self begging you, don't fucking accept 50-50. And men, stop looking for women that accept 50-50 too, because what you're just doing is deferring responsibility to them. You're saying, oh fuck, well I shouldn't have to make enough for my family. I'm just going to date a woman that allows me to take advantage. Then great. What a weakness. You see? Don't you guys get it? And it starts with the women. So, if you just say no, you make men better. Don't you see? They will have to be. Don't you see? They will have to rise to the occasion. That is the only way. Stop sleeping with them if they're offering to pay for half. Stop sleeping with them if you're having to pay for the whole thing. Stop sleeping with a guy, the irresponsible guy you met at a bar with a leather jacket and a neck tattoo as his entire personality. God. And date a man with some fiscal responsibility. Because let me tell you, one of them pays dividends and the other one is misery. And I shouldn't have to say it which one it is. It should be fucking obvious. I hope that helps, folks. I hope y'all listen too. Here's the thing though. You're just, as a woman, your standard for your life is set by you. Y'all all born about the same shit, whatever. Some of y'all got lucky with different families, whatever. But y'all all at the thing that men want from you, y'all all born with it. All right? But you set your own premium. Don't you see? You're the one who decides what you are worth. Don't you get it? That's how it is. If you're marketing yourself, how are you going to market it? To the everyman or the sophisticated gentleman? For the man with a refined taste? For the man with expensive taste? Which one do you market yourself to? How are you going to go get a man and put yourself in those circles of men that you want? You need to determine what kind of life you want to live. All right? You set the tone. All right? You set the premium. You are the person who defines what you're worth. Don't you get it? All right? So if you just accept dudes that are just making you pay or making you pay half or making you pay all of it, some of y'all, and or whatever, if you accept that, that is what your value is. That's what you believe your value is. And then that value is then you're just telling others, this is what I'm worth. Don't you see? That's what you're doing. See? You should just be like, look, I only want to date a guy that, first of all, could just be able to afford an extra plate. God. And also, by the way, some of y'all, I'm not suggesting that everybody should be dating billionaires and shit. That's not fucking realistic, all right? But I am suggesting that y'all should at least date men with fiscal responsibility, and he's made enough money not only for himself, but enough to provide for a woman and ultimately a family. Okay? All right? And if he's pushing that cost onto you, that means he's deferring his own responsibilities and just seeing what you'll accept and get away and what he can get away with. And does that help men or does it make it worse? Does that help or does it make it worse? It's worse. Okay? So, set the expectation that you aren't going to settle for this cheap bullshit. Because by doing that, you will make men collectively as a whole better. You will force them to step up. You will force them to put their priorities in order. You will force them to behave in a way that is acceptable for you, and then you can choose them. Ta-da! Just like that. The women will move the men into action. I promise you. I promise you. Because men will dead ass sleep in a cardboard box with you if you let them. But if you don't accept that, how many of y'all wouldn't live in a cardboard box? But here's the thing, that should be obvious, right? But if you did, if some of you would accept that, like, oh, I can go, I know girls that go sleep. Okay, here's a perfect example. Ooh, you got me fired up now. I know it's a perfect example. There is a guy that dead ass lives in a van. He's a comedian, lives in his van, whatever. Funny guy, whatever. But he dead ass lives in his van. okay? But some of y'all women will, and I know this guy, I've seen this happen, will meet this man in public and then just go sleep with him in his van. He's like, oh yeah, I live here. And then y'all just accept that. In the van? Y'all can't even stand up all the way. It's hot in here. So if you allow for this to happen, okay, if you will accept a man that will and sleep with him, I can't even imagine the smell. There's no shower in there. I've seen almost every van there is. I've never seen a shower in one that hasn't been modified in some crazy way. So I just couldn't even imagine the smell. But some of y'all sleeping with him anyways. Okay? So y'all sleep with the dude in the van. What does that say about you? How much you are worth? You're just saying it. You're not only just saying it to the guy that you slept with in the van with that smelly pud, God, but you're also saying it to yourself. You're saying, this is what I'm worth. The back of some dude's van that can't afford an apartment. What the fuck? And that's what you're doing. So if you decide one day to just say, I don't want to live like this anymore, then you're just surprised, stop sleeping with a dude in the van, and you can set your own premium. You can determine how much you're worth by just only accepting people that can at least afford a fucking apartment note, a mortgage or something. God. I've dated women. I'm sure women have dated men the same way, just because this one goes both ways. I've dated women that their whole life is just fucking negative. You ever just been around a person where it's just like everything's bad, everything sucks, everything's just bullshit, everything's just some conspiracy. That's another one. Everything's just some dark cloud just following this person around. And no matter what happens, no matter how good or bad, doesn't matter any situation, there's always some way to find some shit and find some negative bullshit. Y'all know what I'm talking about? You ever been around people like that? How just draining it is, just exhausting. You get so exhausting to the point where you don't even want to say shit. You're just like sitting there just like. But I promise you, there's no defense for this. That shit seeps into your pores and shit. And it's stuck in you. And it shows on your face and makes you ugly. You'll get pimples because of that shit. Swear to God. Anyways, my point is if you sleep with a man, that's what you're telling the world you're worth, and yourself, and then if you will open your heart to a guy who's a fucking loser, those loser habits and that loser aura and that loser air will seep into your pores and will give you acne. So pick how you want to live. All right? How many of y'all have dated a person that's just so negative? Their energy in the room is just so tense. Like you walk in, it's just like, oh. That shit will give you cystic acne for real. You'll start growing them under your skin and shit like that. Patches won't work either. It comes out in interesting ways, folks. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you that, folks. That shit's bullshit. And look, life's hard too, by the way. It's hard for everyone. It's hard for everyone. From the poor kids to the trust fund kids, it's hard for everyone. Everybody's got their own way. Everybody's got their own walk. It's all hard, all right? So it's about how you look at it, how you appreciate it, what your energy is towards life, you know. And some people, and I hate to say this because this is just true, some people, no matter how good their life is, they're just going to be downtrodden. They're just going to be, no matter what, whether good, bad, left, right, don't matter. They're just going to be downtrodden folks. They just love that shit. And they will, and there's no defense against this, by proximity, they will pull you down. And that's just the way you'll be too. Next thing you know, you'll start absorbing those habits, start seeing and saying things that they say. You don't even feel it creeping in on you, but it does. And then that's just not a good way to be. So, and in my experience, guys that are perpetually broke, perpetually at the bottom. It's been years and years. It's always some sort of reason, always some sort of excuse, always some sort of bullshit that they'll feed you. You'll start believing them in their little fucking universe where they've convinced you that this is how it is. All right? You're not defenseless. I mean, you're defenseless against it. There's no way to defend it. If you open your heart to that, you will be that too in short order, let me tell you. So, just the guys that are perpetually down on their luck, downtrodden, sad. It's just, it's not anybody's fault. It's unfair, but I can't be around that. That kind of stuff is not good. And you shouldn't be either. Perpetually broke is hilarious. Yeah, it is hilarious. It's not funny, but it's something that you should like be aware of, because it's always an excuse, man. You guys date guys that are broke, and they'll be broke for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. Never try anything new. Always sort of coming up with some stupid ass fucking business idea or some crazy scheme, and you're just hearing them, and it's just such a cockamamie idea that you're just like, okay, well, yeah, let's see how it goes. But you know good and damn well deep down they don't have the follow through to do fucking anything. And you've opened your heart to them, and y'all sleeping in the same bed, and you're just kind of like, okay, sounds good, yeah, let me know. And he's like, you understand, babe, this is going to make us rich. This is going to be so good. And you're just going to be like, okay. And you're like, but you know good and well it's stupid. And not only is it stupid, but he couldn't do it even if he wanted to. You know? Y'all sleeping with guys like that and living in that for years. Have some self-respect. How do you get him to ask you to move in? I don't want to pay bills anymore. Okay, I'm going to give you the answer. How to get your man to ask you to move in. I'll show you how. Here's what you do. You simply make it seem like it's a huge inconvenience to go to his house all the time. All right? Because think about it. You got to pack all your stuff. You got to get an overnight bag. You got to bring your little dog. You got to do all this stuff. And it's every time you got to pack it all up and go to his house. And then because it's such an inconvenience, it's nothing personal, nothing against him. All right? It's just literally not possible because you have to pack up all this stuff and you're just so tired out. It's going to take an hour for you to shower and get full ready, and everything shower just takes so long. Oh, it's always got to be an everything shower. You got to shave just in case. So you got to do all that stuff and then pack it all up and then drive all the way over there. By the time you get there, it's going to be so late, it's just not worth it. And then you make your ability to frequently see him less and less. So you space that shit out more and more and more. And then he's just going to get frustrated. He's just going to say, why don't you just live with me? Because then he's going to think, oh, well, if she's here, then we can do Bible study all the time. Somebody's going to be praying. Somebody's going to be saying the Lord's name. That's what he thinks. It's just so convenient. You see? You don't say, hey, I should move in with you. That won't work. You scare him off. All right? He's going to go, oh, what a commitment so fast. Instead, all you do is just make it seem like going to his house is so inconvenient. Don't nag about it. Don't complain. Just say, oh, I can't because by the time I get ready, by the time I get packed up, it's just going to be so late. I'm going to be so tired. Sorry. And then if on occasion when you do go to his house, because you still got to go, so when you do go to his house, just get there so late that literally all you have the energy for is just straight to bed. I promise you, that man will get frustrated beyond all belief. And then he's just going to go, you should just move in with me. You're going to go, oh, yeah, are you sure? That's how you do it, folks. Make it tough to see him because logistically it's just impossible all the time. I'm not saying stop seeing him. You can't stop seeing him abruptly. You can't complain about it. Just make it more and more sparse because of the logistics of getting there makes it hard. And when you do finally get there, it's almost so late at night. You're so tired. You go right to sleep. I promise you, that man will go, you should just move in. And you go, okay. There you go. You're welcome. He invited me to his place, and he'll pay for everything, but he wants me to go on bus. I want to fly. He invited me to his place, and he'll pay for everything. Is it like far away, long distance? You telling me that a man that you're seeing online, I guess long distance, is offering you to come to wherever he's staying at, and he offered you a bus ticket and not a plane ticket? Well, what is he scheduling you out? He needs you to take longer to get there because he's flown in the other girl that he actually likes that can get there quickly? Why does he have a bus ticket for you? You see, here, I'll get you a Greyhound, you'll love it. Don't worry about the homeless man that's just traveling across the country with, I don't know. Don't worry about him. You just come on over. Here's your bus ticket, ma'am. You can check one bag. What do you mean? Is it because the plane tickets are so expensive? Man, if he can't afford the plane ticket, but he can afford the bus ticket, I sense that y'all going to be eating out the same single bag of Costco chicken. You know those bags that get the big drumsticks? Y'all going to be sharing that all week long. If you can't just pay the extra price for the airplane and instead wants to get you on a bus. What are you talking about? There's got to be a reason for this. Y'all sharing this, y'all going to be eating that same bag of chicken if he's not willing to cough up the extra money for flights. I promise you that. What do you mean? Oh, yeah, come visit me. Come visit me out and all the way out. Come to New York. You're really living all the way out in Kentucky. Take a bus. I'll see you in a few days. Don't worry. They make intervals. They periodically stop so you can use the restroom. Don't worry. What? That just doesn't feel safe. Something's wrong. Priorities seem out of order somewhere. What if he looks like Denzel Washington in his prime? She says, what if he looks like Denzel Washington in his prime? Ma'am, you are dickmatized. You need to wake up. That man bought you bus fare. He couldn't even get you an economy flight even. Wake up. On men that have wandering eyes. Listen, ladies. Men are going to have wandering eyes all the time. It is what it is. And you kind of want that. You don't want them to be just so like uninterested in other women. If a man is completely blinders on to the presence of other women and has not even look at all, then that man might not be straight. And some of y'all will date a man for 3 years or 5 years or 10 years, and that man's secretly in the closet. And like, do you want that? At least him looking around will be a subtle reminder that he's straight. Yeah. It's better him look at and like check out the waitress than check out the fireman. Wouldn't you prefer that? So like, be careful what you ask for. You might get a man that never looks at women ever. You might get what you want. Like if he's too subtle about it and you never catch on, he might not be looking at women and you got a much bigger problem. Is that what you want?